Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing y'all how to make this Naruto scroll, and I'm not going to be using any paper, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But this is basically a request on DeviantArt, and I just decided I'll do a scroll of fabric and other materials instead of paper, and for different reasons. One, I'm not really that good with how the scroll paper works or anything like that, so I'm not really sure what kind of paper you use. But also I think a different type of material is better because paper can easily rip if you're pulling it too hard, or it can get ruined. Like if you spill something on it, anything can happen to it easily, and it might not be as durable. So I decided to just make this scroll out of fabric and polyfoam and a stick, and I'll show you how to make it. Now this is completely customizable. I just chose to do the one that I found a reference picture on. You can use different colors of fabric to make whatever one you want. But anyways, I hope y'all really enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to give a thumbs up if y'all want more of these cosplay prop tutorials. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so first things first, I'm going to talk about the materials I'm going to be using. So the first thing that I got is this wooden stick. This is just going to go in the middle, sort of like the thing I'm going to be using to wrap around. I would highly recommend you get a thicker stick than the one I did, but this was the only one I could find. The next thing I got is this little polyfoam. As you can see, it's this pretty thick sort of foam square. It's a 12 by 12. You can get one bigger if you're making a bigger scroll. So the last materials that you'll need are the fabrics. Like I said, this is going to be made out of fabric, so I'm not using paper. So I just got black, white, red, and a little bit of green. Now the color of fabric you pick will determine which scroll you're doing, because there's a bunch of different designs and colors, so that's how you'll decide what colors you'll need. Okay, so since my polyfoam square is 12 by 12, this is the perfect size for my stick, since this is 12 inches as well. So the first thing I want to do is just glue my stick at the top, just to secure it, and then I'll show you the next step right after that. So once the glue has dried, what you'll want to do is just begin wrapping the foam around the stick and try to press tightly. So once it has completely wrapped all the way around, you'll see where that ends, and you'll just want to make a small little mark right there. So I already made my little mark, and what I'll do is just measure how long it is. So mine is about close to 1.5 inches, a little bit under that. So I want to make the same marking over here and the same measurement, just to keep everything even. So once you have the markings on both sides, you can just get a ruler, align them, and then just make that line all the way across. Now it doesn't matter if you're using black marker or any color, because you won't really see it afterwards. Now just take some scissors and cut all the way across. This is how mine looks like. Once it's cut, you can just take some glue, put it across right here, and then just tightly, completely cover that stick, and it should stick. This is how mine looks like, as you can see. So now take this and the rest of your polyfoam, and what you'll want to do is just basically align it up. Now you'll want to take a ruler and just make a little marking on the sides. Basically what these markings will do is just give you the piece that goes in the middle, because you're going to cut that out, and that's what you're going to wrap in the middle to give it the width of the scroll. But you'll need the ends of the stick part to be sticking out, extra. And the reason for that is because if you look at the scroll, there's those ends that are sticking out the left and right. So that's what you need. That's why you need this piece to be smaller than the stick part. So you can do that. But that trim that I gave my polyfoam earlier actually gave me the perfect trim. As you can see, this piece is now smaller than the stick one, lengthwise. So that's good. So now I don't really have to do that trim. So what I want to do is just begin wrapping around. And again, I'm probably going to have to do the marking at the end. And I probably want it right there. Decide how thick you want your scroll, because that's probably how much you're going to want to cut off. And you're not going to be pulling it tight either. You actually want it to be a lot looser than before when you pulled it tight, just to give it more width. So it'll probably be right there. So go ahead and take your little marker and make the little mark at the end. So now you'll just want to take your ruler and just measure how long that marking is from the top. Mine is probably about 6 inches. So now you'll just take it to the other side and make that marking 6 inches from the top as well. Now just cut that off right across to that line. Before you wrap this piece around the stick part, you'll notice that there's still a little bit of stick showing at the top. So what you'll want to do is take your remaining polyfoam, just cut out some small little circles and place at the top right there. And just glue those down. So now what you want to do is get your black fabric and just cut off 2 pretty small squares. So basically, you can probably tell that we're going to be wrapping this right here. Just placing it like that. Now just glue it down and it should stick right there. So this is how mine looks like. Now just place this piece on top of your polyfoam, and what you want to do is just begin putting glue around it all the way around here, and then just wrap it around. And you don't want to press tightly because you don't want to make any thinner. You actually want to keep its thickness right here. Okay, so once the glue is dry and it's all in place, what you'll want to do is go ahead and get a ruler and just measure how long the white piece is, the foam part. Mine is about 10.5 inches. So go ahead and take that measurement and remember it. Then you'll want to take your white fabric, and pretty much what you're going to want to do is go ahead and mark that measurement on here, and you'll want to cut out a pretty long piece. So I just finished up my markings, and my length is probably about 1.5 feet of white that I'm going to cut out. So just go ahead and just cut out that big old strip from here to here in between. Okay, so I finished cutting all my fabric, as you can see. But once you have your big piece cut out, you'll just want to grab your other color. For me, it's going to be green. So I'm going to go ahead and place this piece on top of here and just cut out the exact same shape and the exact same length. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that you have your other fabric cut out in the exact same length and size as this one, you'll just want to put the two together. So what I'm going to do is just make sure they're ugly side in and right side out, because that's going to be the back of the scroll paper and this is going to be the front, like the inside. So I'm just going to glue all around the corners and the sides to hold the two together. Okay, so once you have your two pieces nice glued down and everything trimmed, you can go ahead and get your next fabric. Mine's is going to be red because of the color scroll I'm doing. Now you're going to be using this fabric to make the little border thing that you see at the top of the scrolls. And based on the picture that I'm seeing, it's going to be a small sort of amount right here and a bigger amount on the back. So basically I'm probably going to do 3 inches in total right here. 1 inch is going to go right here. I'm going to fold it, and the other 2 inches are going to go in the back. So go ahead and make your little markings on how big you want this, and then just cut it off. Okay, so now I'm going to take one of my big red strips and then the big piece of fabric that I made earlier, and I'm just going to be using these little markings that I drew to make sure I'm folding the right amount on both sides. So for me, it's going to be about 1 inch for the inside, which is the white part, and 2 inches for the outside, which is the colored green part. And once I have about the right amount folded, and as you can see, now I'm just going to take some glue and glue down the strip on both sides. Now if you're going to do like me and try to cover up the jagged edges, the frame parts, then don't glue all the way down to the bottom. Just leave that unglued and try to glue up around the top, and then I'll show you how to cover this up. One thing I forgot to mention is you can also pin down the red strip if you know you're going to struggle just gluing while holding. So just remove the pins as you go on gluing. Okay, so I already glued most of my red strip down, but I didn't glue all the way to the bottom. So in order to hide all the messiness that you see at the very end where you cut and all the fraying and all that, you're just going to want to just fold the very bottom of it inwards so it should look like that, and then just glue it down, and that should cover up all the mess that you see on the bottom. So this is how mine looks like once I covered up the fraying ends, so it should be okay now. So just go ahead and put this piece aside and go ahead and get your main piece. You'll want to cut out 2 small squares in white fabric, and what you'll do is pretty much just fold it in half one way, make a small snippet, then fold it the other way and make another small snippet. And that you'll just put it through the top of your main scroll piece, and the ends should go right through, as you can see. Now you can push the little triangles inwards and then just glue them down, but you also want to glue the fabric all the way around, and I'll show you how it should look like. So this is how mine looks like, as you can see, and I went ahead and did the other end too. So now you'll want to take your fabric and this piece, go ahead and align it, and what you'll want to do is go ahead and start gluing and wrapping around. Okay, so instead of gluing the whole fabric piece, what I did was just glue it until it wrapped around the scroll piece once, and after that, whatever's left over you can just wrap around, like just roll it up, so that way you can also you'll be able to open it up and use it. And that's pretty much it. You can tie a ribbon right here if you want, or just hold it closed. This is how it looks like at the end. That's why we added the little white piece right there, so you don't really see the foam. And that's pretty much it. And make sure the piece that isn't glued down, it's nicely cut, and added some fray blocker so it doesn't fray over here or anything. But what you can also do is go ahead and open up your scroll and go ahead and make your design. Now, since it really depends on how much fabric you used, mine will only open up to right here, because I didn't really use that much. I'm not really going to use this right here, so that's why I didn't use as much fabric. But you can open it up more, but you'll have to use more fabric to make it. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it. I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial, and don't forget to give it a like by clicking the thumbs up button, and subscribe for weekly tutorials, and also leave a comment in the comment section. It can be a request or whatever you think about this. Do y'all want me to do other cosplay prop tutorials? I don't mind doing them, but as long as people want them. So leave requests to what y'all want me to do or anything like that. And I hope y'all have a good day, and bye guys.